Everyone knows who everyone is.
Yeah, I mean, if people know this stinky little channel, they've definitely seen Troll Lord games. They definitely know who you are. They might even remember who I am. Like, who's this guy? Like, what's this idiot doing again? How did he score Davis? This is weird. It might be interesting. At least Davis will be entertaining. But welcome, viewers who have not shown up yet, for a fireside chat with the one, the only, Davis Chenault.
Emperor of the known universe. No, my multiverse. And microverse.
Emperor of everything. But not Emperor of the Flies. Well,
nope, not Emperor of the Flies. Oh, have you seen that movie, the new Lord of the Flies?
No, I heard that a new one was coming out or was out. I don't know what's going on. I don't keep up with movies anymore.
I haven't seen it yet. I was just wondering if you've seen it. I find that disingenuous, but anyway.
Well, most of Hollywood today is disingenuous, so I mean, like,
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But tonight we are going to talk about game design, the siege system, Castle Crusades, and whatever wild tangents we can find. Rhodesium is here. Hey, Rhodesium, we have a giveaway. Type ! raffle to see if the thing actually works, because this is the first time we're deploying the giveaway system because Chuck demanded it. And I didn't want Chuck getting in a car and driving down here and hitting me with a stick if I didn't do it.
That would be a long drive.
It would be just go bam.
You should make him do it. Say, here, I'm going to do it my way.
You know, I'm still a little sore at Chuck because last time he was here, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to drop by and see how you're doing. Maybe we can grab something to eat." I never heard from him. Next thing I know, he's over in Tennessee. I'm like, "You forgot, man. Gosh." That's okay. Chuck is a very busy man, and you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see what's on the itinerary. Let's, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and let you talk about.
I have one question. How far are you from BB?
I'm like about an hour and a half because Cersei is just about an hour. So, and my better half works in Cersei. So we're down in Cersei quite often.
Okay. Because we'll probably be in BB a lot. So.
Yeah. It was funny when all the documents and shit had been signed for the new factory building there in BB, because I knew exactly where it was because I used to date a girl from BB. And I'm like, I know what that is. Yeah, no, not really. It was kind of in the long term. We're still friends, but kind of. She invited me to her wedding and baby shower. Really freaking weird, but you know, whatever. But you know, they're supposed to have the groundbreaking ceremony, and Steve's like, "You need to calm down." And then a day goes by, second day goes by, the day of the doesn't go by. And it's like, well, the factory deal's off. It's all with the hell in the handbasket. They want all this stuff done, and all these deals. Like, of course.
Oh yeah, no, it was dude. You do not. I think, yeah. If you're involved in the construction industry, you know how much permitting.
Yeah, this is why our shops have, at least since we left the Dallas-Fort Worth area, has always been outside the city limits.
Yep, that's exactly. Yes,
I remember my dad would tell stories because he had a machine shop and metal fab, built top fuel race cars and other stuff for a long time, motorcycle frames. But he was always talking about when he was on the east side of Fort Worth, the fire department would come in there and, you know, breaking his balls about code violations, like really stupid stuff, you know, just really stupid stuff. And it was always something. And when he got out in the country, it's like, we do what we want. And I'm not saying he did anything shoddy electrical wise, but you know, they're sticklers. There's certain things like, even if it's poly-safe, it still needs to be by code if you're in the city limits. But
you know, and I think what put it into the deal is because they just kept adding stuff on. Well, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this.
Yeah,
then Jeremy got into the regulations and he actually read them, and he's like, well, they contradict themselves constantly, so they can pick whichever one they want you to do, you know, and still be correct.
Well, the biggest thing that kind of blew me over, what Steve mentioned specifically, was they wanted concrete curbs in the gravel parking lot. And it's like, I've seen the businesses around where this site's going to be, and it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
see, that's where I think, and that's where when Steve gave me the numbers on that, the regulation, the numbers, I was like, dude. And he was like, yeah, I'm out. I think this is one, the cost of just putting those curves in was really, really high.
Yeah, it's just,
it was excessively high. And, because I figured, well, shit, I could go down there and do it for 10% that amount. But anyway, that was a throw on that. And we were out and we're like, boom. But we may have got a solution now. We went to BB the other day. So,
yeah, last I heard they were looking at BB. It was funny because like, damn it, Steve, we all flip BB off. We drive through there now. Now we're supposed to make up with them. Damn it, this is bullshit.
Here's the crazy thing, though. So that land down there is so beautiful. Just west of BB. Now, I haven't gone much to the east of BB. I know what it looks like out there. But just west of BB, because you're outside of the floodplain. You're in the Valonia Hurricane Alley. Mm-hmm. But between Valonia and BB is some of the prettiest land in Arkansas. I mean, it is so gorgeous and rural.
They have a permanent Ren Fair site down toward in that area. It's down just south of Rosebud.
Oh, you're right.
I went last year. It was I think it was like the second year they had it, and it was like, holy crap, they've done a lot in like, it's apparently the owner is like his big passion project, and they have done so much in so little time. And I was talking to one of the people there, and they were talking about all the plans and stuff. I mean, they have already something like probably a dozen permanent buildings, and they got cooking. They got a jousting arena, up. And I mean, it still needs a sunshade, which we cooked because it was like, the end of August, early September when it opened. We were all cooking out there, but when they had the shade, it's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that because I had totally forgotten about that. I saw something on YouTube last year, and I'm looking at it right now. Is it in Mount Vernon? Is that the one?
Yeah, Mount Vernon, yeah.
Okay. Yes, this is the one. Yes, I have not been, so it's cool. Holy shit, look at that map.
Yeah, and it's funny they did that map in Incarnate because I was like, wait, I've done maps in this program. I know exactly how they did this, and it's funny they minted their own coins, so you could exchange for cash. Of course, they ran out of coins because everybody left at the damn things. And by the second weekend, they're like, oh, we got a problem. But it's really cool. They had all these like minted coins, different denominations, and the music and it for a second year Ren Fair in the middle of BFE Arkansas, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, this looked really, really good.
And in June they're having the Highland Games, so I've been debating checking that out because I have a little bit of Scottish in me.
Oh, dude.
Hey, CavCon1, welcome to the stream, and feel free to enter the Troll Lords Games raffle. We are giving away two $10 PDF codes and a $15 coupon for whatever crap you can get in the store, or we might be giving away Davis's bed too.
Yes,
may or may not have flies.
You can have my bed. Okay, I'm looking at I'm probably going to get season passes.
Well, if you go. It was funny. I went the first week and I wanted to go so bad for at least the second or third weekend because every weekend's a different theme, and shit just kept coming up and coming up. I'm like, I'm not going to get to go back and see the Pirates this weekend. My God damn it.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I don't know how to. It doesn't give any price. What are the prices? Oh, that's pretty expensive.
I think the tickets at the door are like $20 a head, I believe. I think the online's a little more expensive for, processing fees and stuff like that, but I don't know what the season pass ones were.
I think it's looking like 200, but I don't.
Ooh.
Let's see. That's pretty. I don't know how to find it. I said season pass, but it's giving me all this kind of stuff. But in any respect, thank you for reminding me because I'm going to go this summer several times.
Oh yeah. I'll happily meet up with you down there because you'll know who I am just by this because I walk around the Castles and Crusades. I'm like, what the hell's Castles and Crusades? It's the best damn game in the world, and its base comes from Arkansas.
Dude, you know what? We should have a gathering at that thing.
Yeah.
Just everyone who's like local or whatever. Yeah. We just pick a weekend. We all meet down. Sure, we all meet down there and play a game or something like that, or
I kind of wondered what it would cost to like get a booth for area. I don't know anything about that, and I don't know. Steve might look at it like, "Oh my God, that's insane," because I know it's a cost versus reward. Now, if we just all showed up and bought our own portable tables, or hell, we could just play in the dirt. Screw it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, heck, show up during the jousting event and then just like sit down there and play while they're jousting. Dude,
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun. I will talk to my brother about it too. I didn't thought about a booth. That would be cool. Uh, I'd love to go in costume and do some stuff like that. So Castles of Crusades in costume.
Unfortunately, I only go as a middle-aged gaming guy at this point. I don't have any fine outfits to go.
I don't. I don't either. I'd have to like beg my brother to get them.
I had to beg my brother for my chainmail.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's just like in the Middle Ages. You got to go to your brother for the chainmail.
You know, there's another location down that way, and you're totally off gaming. It's fine. Have you ever been heard of Books by the Pound?
No.
It's a bookstore in Searcy, and it fleeces my pockets all the time because literally Books by the Pound. You either get a box like as much crap you can fit for $40, or they weigh it and sell. I thought of you because they had this weird old gnome book, all these fucking weird garden gnomes and shit. And I showed it to your brother. He's like, I think we had one of those growing up. And I thought about buying it, but it smelled of such mildew. I'm like, I don't need to take my house up. Like this book is really rotten and it's gone now. But yeah,
do they have a decent selection?
The thing I like about it is you never know what you're going to get because there's always stuff coming in. Their fantasy and sci-fi section, nah. But I've bought a lot of biographies, history books because at heart I am a history nerd. I bought a lot of books like that. And of course they have thrillers out the ASS as they do. Of course now I was really surprised the other day. There's a local bookstore in Batesville that just changed ownership, and I went upstairs and they had all kinds of really obscure and weird sci-fi and fantasy titles from like the 70s, 80s. Like
really,
yeah. And the sale was for like a dollar a paperback or $1.50 for hardcovers, and there was just so much stuff in there. I wish I had someone who is more well read into that era. Of course, they also had 500 tons of romance books, and I'm pretty sure I did not need to read The Dragon Lover. But I don't know, it may have been entertaining. I don't know, but they're also wanting to start a gaming group up there. And hello, Wolf Alone, welcome to join us. Please join our raffle. But she's like, yeah, my husband wants to get into gaming, and I'm like, yeah, I there's this company I do some work for, Castle Crusade. She's like, what's that? I'm like, well, it's a great company here in Arkansas. She's like, well, he would love to hear all about that. Do you have a business card? I'm like, I don't have a business card. I don't think TLG has any business cards.
Grace made us business cards this year.
Really? Oh
yes, she did.
This is an idea for your brother. You need to do like little handout pamphlets, or they can be sent to stores, retailers. I actually need to email him. I know they're trying to build relationships with local stores and stuff, and this guy wants to get in a lot of stuff. So
yeah, it's the funny thing about the stores, the retail brick and mortar stores, there's so few of them left anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and most of them they either carry Warhammer or 5e.
Yeah,
but mostly Magic the Gathering and board games.
Yeah, that's where they're going to get their big money. Yeah. Finding a game store. Now there's one in Connecticut I know of, one in Denver I think probably still open, where you get a wide variety of gaming material. They buy everything, as much as they can.
It was weird. The best source for gaming books, and this was before. So I had a long interest in gaming, but between living in rural Texas and then up here, it's before the internet was the point where you could do virtual gaming. You're kind of SOL if you wanted to really understand, learn, and play Dungeons and Dragons. But Hastings, the video book chain, I remember they had so much. This was the free era, and they had so many third edition books, and I was like, "Oh, those look really cool. I don't have any use for them."
Yeah, exactly.
And like now, it's like, God damn, I should have been buying that shit all the way back then. I could have sat on it. Oh well, but such is life. But
and I think after the 3.0 and 3.5 market collapse, a lot of game companies or owners were just like, no, we're not.
And I know a lot of the books changed. Like we ain't getting that trap again.
Yeah.
I was a Books a Million, I think, in Conway, and the most thing I have is 5th edition, some Pathfinder, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really praise anybody who's trying to bring gaming into their bookstore stuff. That's pretty cool. I was actually surprised. Our local library at Independence County, they have a whole rack of Call of Cthulhu 5th edition, like books. Like she's like, it was so funny. I'm like, can I done for your books there? Because I'd never had hands on Call of Cthulhu. Yeah. He's like, yes, but you can't check them out. You can't take them home with you. I'm like, I understand. And she like told me this for your time. I'm like, ma'am, I understand. I'm not going to even leave the room. And she's like, these books are for the people to play games here. I understand that. We have a gaming. I understand that. I was like, oh, it was a funny interaction. He was so serious about it. I'm just like,
the library, I'm just visiting. Special collections, where they're like, you have to wear gloves to use this book. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, these are just, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, Chuck's in the chat. Hey, Chuck, we are not talking about gaming, really. We kind of are. We're talking about brick and mortar shops, which is totally not on the itinerary, but it's fine. But,
how many brick and mortars are left?
I don't know.
I bet you it's fewer than 1,000.
Yeah, we have one gaming store in Batesville, and we went in there. Mostly board games and card games. They recently moved. I need to check it out in there because they had a few D&D books and some dice, and it was really pathetic. Some of the bigger stores, like down towards Little Rock, and there's that Game Goblin store. They got one, I think, in Little Rock and one in North. Where the hell was that? Was it Conway? I don't remember. But it's mostly miniatures, and I mean, I know that's bread and butter, but I'm glad I'm not the one who try to break into any of that stuff. And
No.
And for me, when it comes down to it, it's a question of, yes, it's great to support your local shops, but Total Lord Games is a local business. And if I buy directly from you guys, it's going to support, and like, I don't have any personal relationship with stores, so they're not getting my money. Unfortunately, it's going to go straight to the source. But it's just the world we live in. I mean,
it's changed. That's just the nature of it. It's changed. I don't think we're going to revisit those days. Like, I remember a store I can specifically remember 2 stores. One in Salt Lake City, one Fort Leavenworth, Leavenworth, Kansas, where the university is. There was a game store that I went in, and it was just walls and walls and walls. I mean, just shelves and shelves and shelves of books, RPG books. Mm-hmm. And this was in the late 1980s. I doubt that company. I doubt they're in business anymore. But that's where I picked up. That's where I picked up the Palladium Armor book, mm-hmm. Arms and Armor book, or whatever theirs was. The Palladium one, Dragon Quest. I remember walking down the store with like a box of material, just like, holy crap. That's where I first got introduced to that was my first Warhammer.
Yeah,
that was my first Warhammer too, so it's mid-80s. Anyway,
that is something I miss from when I was younger, because I remember going to a lot of comic shops, which had dual duty as comic shops and game shops. Still too young to buy, but I remember the product that they had, and it's also like, even used bookstores are not what they used to be.
Yeah,
like I remember going to the dank, dark used bookstores, which they had that old book smell. The lighting was completely awful. The shelves were leaning over you like this.
Yeah,
but you could find such treasures, and you feel like you're freaking Indiana Jones in there. And that's one thing I can say about Books by the Pound. It's a lot better presented, but you're still like a pot. Like, you have no idea what you're going to find.
Yeah,
but back in my days, I miss the way things were, and it's ever coming back. Gosh dang it! And it just it really grinds my gears.
Yeah. But yeah, I know it's easy to look back and say how great that is. But then, like, you think about it too, like, you revisit some of that in your head, and you're really honest about it. It's like, Would you really rather go back into that store? Because see, the online experience. Yeah, I know.
I have some used books. Can I get some credit? Yeah, 50 cents for each book. I'm like, they're in good condition. Nah, fuck you. That's what you get. And, as far as technology goes, one thing this is something I did for myself recently. I set up a virtual local network where where this phone, anywhere in the world, I can access all of my PDFs.
Oh yeah, no. See,
I love that, and all my documents, all my game documents, I can work on stuff. If like I have an idea, I need to change that. It's just I'm so happy about that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think so. I'm the opposite of Lou. I look forward to all the technological innovations.
I think engineers save the future. I do believe that. I think engineers and technology ultimately save the future. I think things are going to be better than not.
Yeah, I still have a negative view of mankind, but the technology can work. Work to our advantage. But I look at it, I mean, what we have now and potentially what we are going to have.
Oh, yeah.
Just mind-blowing.
It's exciting.
And even though I'm horrible with keeping up with it and actually, utilizing it to any effect in my life, really, I think it's great. I think it's great there. I mean, online shopping. So, for example, here's a great one. What is it? Gutenberg? The Gutenberg Library? Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah, all those free PDFs online.
Yeah.
All the books. Yeah.
I just had to find a manual for my dad's English lathe. It was built in the late 50s. I found a PDF for it like that because he can't find the original one because he's looking to sell it. And they're like, I've got to sell it with the manual. I'm like, we don't know where we stored it. It's somewhere in one of a million boxes. But here it is. I can print this down and it's like it's amazing stuff you can access. Now now that's one of the things that the internet has changed where, 20 years ago, there was a lot of niche websites like I am really big about this one subject. So I'm going to do this whole website with all this very in-depth technical information. Yeah. And those websites have slowly started disappearing as people have died or whatever. And now it's replaced by Wikipedia, which is, take it with a grain of salt and be careful, which has actually driven me to start buying a lot of books for hard copy, so I never have to actually rely on the internet to look at. Because I've gotten arguments with people who swore up and down, well, this is the way it was. I'm like, no, it's not. Well, how do you know? I'm like, I have 15 books that say otherwise, and people who actually lived and done this stuff, and you're using this weird source that's not backed up by anything. It's like,
yeah, and just for an example, I know there are people out there who swear by Wikipedia. Wikipedia has some knowledge in there. Okay.
Yeah. It's a good place to start sometimes.
It's a good place to start. But just for example, you can go to the Troll Lord's Wikipedia. It's all wrong. Okay. We've gone in to correct it a dozen times.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, whoever goes in to re-edit it takes away all of our corrections and just sends it back to absolute wrong, right?
The only stuff that's like fairly accurate is like really niche, like technical information. Like, say it's some obscure military weapon system that not many people know about because there's some, nerd on there like me who goes there and puts the information and no one ever looks at it. No one ever touches it again. Yeah. Versus, some topics that are, for lack of better words, a little more controversial. And then there's been edit wars on certain topics, and I can't really get into the hows and whys without getting political because but I've discovered there is a 20-year edit war going over this one little definition about a song, about what the song actually meant. And it's just like, you're all stupid. You're all just stupid. Both sides are just completely stupid. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. And I was actually, speaking of, Wikipedia, which rolls into the whole AI thing, like ChatGPT, Grok, whatever they are, Gemini, I don't know all of them. But anyway, I went through and I asked three of them. It was Grok, ChatGPT. I think it was Gemini that I asked, like their sources of what their knowledge is, right? When I ask you a question, where are you pulling this blah, blah, blah from? So what I found out through these discussions with these three AIs is that they are unlearned. Okay. They are unstudied and unlearned. They do not have access to 99.9% of what humanity has written.
Yep.
So just take that into account when you're going using any of them as a source of knowledge, because they're mostly just going to Reddit posts.
Pretty much. Of course, you know what is the was funny as hell the other day. Sometimes I will use. I've experimented with AI a little bit. I even have experimented a little bit with the local language models hosted locally. Mm-hmm. Like I have just enough of a system to kind of mess with it, but they hallucinate really badly unless you're like very specific tasks.
Yeah.
And one of the things I realized, because I have to, like, gaming sessions, I have to add up, like, okay, there is this many gold pieces, this many gems, this blah blah blah, all this stuff. How much does it equal if you add it all up? And there's like 23 items. I can do that manually. It might take 10 minutes of adding up the calculator. I'm like, let's see what AI will do. I'm like, here's a list of crap. GP equals gold value. Put it all together and tell me how much it is.
Yeah,
it like that. But I ran it for 3 different models and I got 3 different answers.
You're kidding me?
No, I'm like, and a couple of them I kind of understood where it made a mistake. I said, you made a mistake here. And it's like, oh, I double counted this. I'm so sorry. I'm like, that's the main thing that drives me crazy with AI. It's so people pleasing. I want it to insult me. I want it to be sassy. I'm like, yes, damn it, I made a mistake. Gonna make a big deal about it. Come on, I'm learning here. I wanted to be mean to me.
Yeah. It's funny. I asked because I was sort of trusting that, like, I figured these AI programs could do a few things properly. And math, I know, math being one. Okay. Like, if I have a math question, can you please give me a correct answer? Because it's fucking math,
Yeah, you think you would know.
Yeah, I mean, my old Texas Instruments, little calculator can do it. Can you do it? So I did one the other day. It wasn't a simple equation, but it was a complex equation. Not even involved. I wanted to do a differential equations problem, but it didn't. It did a statistics problem. Nevertheless, it did the problem. I put it up on the on, I think it was Twitter, or it was on
I saw it the other day.
Yeah, that problem, and what someone said it was wrong, and I was like, oh my god, you got to be kidding me, because I'm sort of depending on these, and now I'm going to run it through like 4 or 5 when I have a math problem to see what all of them say regarding that. But here could be an issue with that is if it's a word problem. Say, for example, you're expressing the problem with words rather than with numbers, it may have a difficult time interpreting the meaning of your words. So, and produce incorrect results.
I was watching Eric Tenkar. They were talking about AI over on there and how it relates to gaming. But he said the thing he discovered was if you have, after you run the prompt and it gives results, you need to ask it, are you sure this information is accurate? And a lot of times, like, no, this information is inaccurate. I made a mistake, blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm going to rephrase, I'm going to rerun the problem with accurate information. You have to, like, tell it, this has to be accurate. You can't make shit up. It's like, I don't know. It's like talking to a toddler with access to Wikipedia, and it's just randomly banging on numbers and telling you random shit that pulls up. It's
bullshit, you bastard.
Yeah. Now, see, I would love have a local model where I could program like every single PDF I have, every troller game product, every TSR product, every monster man, and it's like, okay, I need this. Where is it? And it that's doable, but the ability to train the AI for a layman like me is not there yet. I love the idea of it being like a data manager, archival kind of thing.
Okay, this is what I found. Like, I ran a document. Was not one. It was 3 different documents. Each was about 12,000 words through ChatGPT, I think. And I asked ChatGPT to pull out all the names in there. And I know when I write, I will like say, Bob, the builder of X, right? Or something like that. They always have something with them to to describe who they are, what they did, something they did, something they built, something,
Right.
associated with them. Every single name, every time I introduce a character, there's always that thing with them, right? So I asked ChatGPT to pull out all the names, places, yada, 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 and organize them for me and just present the list to me. And it did a really, really, really good job of pulling out all the name things, giving me the base description of what it, basically repeating what I said. But instead of me having to go through and make the list myself, it did it all in like 10 seconds. So it can be an organizer.
Yeah. It's funny, considering the horrible, useless state of search engine these days, sometimes it can be a bit better at finding specific information, but you have to, big grain of salt. You still have to have the mindset of, I have to still, find my own sources and back it up. I can't just take it at face value.
No, you can't.
And people are doing that, and it's just,
you can ask it to do, I know Grok has several search modes. You can do like deep think or whatever. Mm-hmm. You can make it search more and more and more. Just keep looking. You can say, look more, look more, look more. And then you can ask Grok, you can actually ask Grok, I know, to give you the references. Where are you getting this information? And it'll list most of the websites, I think, where it gets it from.
Yeah.
Though I've never double checked to see if he's correct. I don't know about that. But it does not beat a book.
No.
Information in a book. It just simply does not. It can't compete.
I sit here, I grab it. And that's one of the things why I love my PDFs, because they're great for reference, and I have the search function. But the ability to just say, I know what I'm looking for, and just randomly crack the book open, and 9 times out of 10, I hit like right where I want the information I want. You can't do that with the PDF. You can't do that with anything. It's just,
oh no, PDFs are sort of, without a search function, PDFs are sort of,
I have a lot of old TSR PDFs. Mm-hmm. Sometimes finding through those, I had the bright idea I was going to print these things out, because they're black and white. I got me this EcoTank Epson printer, which is the best printer I've ever had, and I still hate it because printers are literally creations of Satan himself. He's down on his throne laughing his ass off every time I have a problem. But it's, I've printed, sometimes they'll print like, this much shit. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Right. And then I'm like, I'm stuck on the second page. I'm printing on the other side. I'm like, God damn it. I need to give me a laser jet or something, or I don't know. And then, I asked her brother about binding, and he sends me a link to like a $3,000 binding machine. I'm like, that's not exactly what I had in mind. I'm not opening a print shop. I'm doing this a personal. Like, damn it. He tried. I'd get to. But I'm going to say it real quick. The thing that has endeared me the most TLG is the fact they will go above and beyond to take care of their customers and their friends. Like this box here is a perfect example. Might be familiar to you, Davis.
Yeah.
See, this is the second box I've owned for this box set. The original was destroyed by a puppy. And she's like, I'm going to eat the whole box. She chews the shit out of it. And I just made her joke to steal. Like, boy, I wish I had a spare box on my dog ate. And he's like, we'll send you one. I'm like, no way. I paid the shipping and everything. I was like, that's pretty awesome. Like, I'm not going to make it happen.
Is Chuck still online?
It's Chuck. Yes, Chuck is. Oh, wait a minute. Chuck is telling me to read back.
Because I think. Ask Davis how the boat book is going.
How's the boat book going?
Okay, so it's going okay.
You want to walk the gangplank?
Yeah.
It's like you're being killed repeatedly writing this book.
So it's one of those things. I knew nothing really about boats, right? Going into this, I'm not a nautical history guy. I've been sailing on a sailboat a few times, I should say, and on a boat. I hitchhiked in the Mediterranean on boats across the Mediterranean. But I'm not a boat guy, right? I don't really know anything about it, yada, yada, yada. So going into it, it's all fresh to me. It's all new, right? The technical, even the language is new. And then you have to learn all this stuff. So I am getting lost at times reading about.
I learned a lot about, at least during Nelson's time, I was reading all of the Patrick O'Brien novels like 15 years ago.
Yes.
And there's like, I know a lot of the nautical terms, but I don't. And I saw this book, and it's like it explains everything, all the ropes and the positions and the crew and stuff. I mean, great for that one error. But
for that one era. But see, we can't do something.
Yeah, you're doing all of nautical history.
So the first thing I have to do is like figure out what's important and what's not, because it's just for a TTRPG. It's not for like, I'm not teaching anyone how to go sail. You know, I'm not going to do that, or how to build a boat.
TLG gets sued because the information was wrong on the outside.
Yeah. I don't know. So I got lost in a lot of naval history. But I have found out some really fascinating things. And like retractable rudders. Have you ever heard of retractable rudders? Mm-hmm. It's the Japanese had it like ages ago, like 1,000 years ago. They had retractable rudders on some of their larger ships. And the Chinese did, at least, on some of the junks, the larger junks. But I had to learn all this stuff. So then I have to parse it down to what's important for a game. But it's reading about the history of naval development is absolutely fascinating. I'm sort of getting lost in all this stuff. I mean, it's the first time I've read about the Javanese fleets, and they really looked into the size of those Chinese treasure fleets under the Yang dynasty, I think, or Ming dynasty, Yang emperors. Dude, the one that showed up in China had something like 200 ships minimally, and the crew manifest was about 28,000 people. Wow. And I was like, and that was supposed to be like one of 6 fleets, you know? And I'm like, holy shit. The fleet was huge.
You know, that's, I can completely understand where you're at, because, you know, I find maritime history interesting, but it's more kind of focused, like, a lot about, from, Nelson's era time forward to, like modern times, the development of shipbuilding and technology, or in aviation now. I'm a huge aviation nut. I have, volumes and volumes and volumes of books on history of the specific aircraft, their builders, the companies. Like, that is my, as the kids these days say, my tism, or my better half says. Right. She says, you want to play for autistic? Look at all the airplane books you have, and every time one flies over, you know exactly what it is. And but
how many rivets does that plane have on it? Well, I can tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Shit about it, but I'm like, you're not wrong. You're probably not wrong. Yeah. But you get so lost in it, and anytime I have to do it like some sort of project, it is so difficult to determine what is important and what's not, especially in TTRPG, because there's always going to be some guy on there who's left to be like, well, they didn't tell me how to maintain a rudder, and I really didn't need to know that in my Saturday night game, because they broke the rudder, and we need to exactly know how to fix it, and like, this book is crap.
Oh yeah, no,
there's always that one guy. It's like, shit.
Well, see, there's what I actually, in the introduction, I make an apology to the what I call the nautical gongoozlers, and that's a gongoozler is a person who sits and stares at ships, basically. Like, it's like a term for them, they'll sit at the dock and like stare and watch ships and stuff like that. Like in Italy, there's this thing where people, especially older men, go to construction sites and just watch the construction and comment on the construction. And there's a term for them too. I can't remember the term for them. It's really funny, but yeah, no, there and before even beginning this, I remember that tweet I put up. I apologize in advance, because I know boat people who like boats, like their boats.
Yeah, like, and they're gonna crucify you.
Yeah, no. So people who like boats can get sort of nitpicky about, like, even the word boats. It's not a boat; it's a ship, and I'm like, okay. So
unless it's a submarine, and then the crews affectionately call them boats.
Yeah, right.
And some of it in the Navy call it carriers boats too. It's one of those things. There's so much nuance there, and
Yeah, no, and using boat and ship interchangeably, which I would do, and I still do. And if I'm not sort of trying to consciously think about it, I'll use boat and ship interchangeably. I don't care.
Yeah,
But
there's someone that does.
guy.
There's someone who does. You could insult their mother with the most derogatory remarks, and then like, but you say the wrong thing about their beloved boats.
Bismarck is a really big boat.
Someone's out there, their eyeballs shooting across the
I don't know this, so I'm just going to it all new and fresh. So I hope people are forgiving of that.
So, how many drafts have you done so far?
How many crafts?
Drafts of the boat book.
I'm on the fourth one, and I'm about to start. I haven't told. Chuck, don't say anything to my brother.
This is Davis's odyssey.
I was looking at it this morning, and I was like, this layout, this is just not going to work. I mean, because it doesn't functionally make sense, so the other engineering things gave you sort of templates to work with, right? Well, my current draft there's no templates to work with. It's just, here's a type of ship, a trireme, and it has these particular things and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And here's a junk, and here's a this, and here's a that, right? But they don't make any sense to me. I mean, it makes sense, but and I have it broken down by like the early period Mediterranean, early period Indian Ocean, early period, West Pacific, then early period Northern European, right? And then it's middle period, then late period. But the technological differences between these ships, it didn't make sense to say early, middle, and late in a way, because the tech differences are so huge. So now I'm trying to think, okay, I need to break these. And the reason I broke them down into regions is because they're aesthetically and technologically like locked into these regions until much later. To give the castle keeper the visual information they need to keep a cohesive like fleet, because you don't want like a galleon mixed with a like a junk and mixed with like a trireme. You don't want all those three together necessarily as like the Navy in this area. You want them to look the same, technologically and otherwise. But anyway, so now I'm thinking about breaking it down again. I don't know.
And this is actually, I can see where this is a difficult book to write, because, you could kind of cheap out and say, well, most people are playing, just generic medieval fantasy D&D type, games. And I just focus on like, medieval European type designs, blah, blah, blah. But there's a lot of them who don't. And there's going to be like, well, I want to play my, Eastern Asian, influence game. Like, I want to know about those boats. And it's just like, I don't envy you.
No. And if you look I was lucky in that in the Villages book, especially, I have vast amounts of like physical book information that deals with villages and stuff from my anthropology and archaeology background. And then what I could get on the web and rent at a library a few times. So the Villages book has villages and town layout or village layouts from like Japan, China, Vietnam, all over Africa, South America, Central America, North America, Europe, Italy, in various time spans, right? Mm-hmm. So you can pick and choose, what by region and environment or whatever, so you can make a cohesive setting. But I'm finding it more difficult to do that with boats simply because I don't have the background knowledge.
You went in the deep end.
Do what?
You went in the deep end.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm in a whirlpool. So now I'm pulling out villages. So I look at it this morning. It's like, I don't like this because it doesn't work for the castle keeper. It doesn't work for like what I want it to do necessarily. So I'll look at it again and either put it out like it is or come up with a new layout. But did you know centerline rudders? And when did the centerline rudder come into Europe? It was so much later, 13th century, 12th century. but it had been in Asia since I don't know, sometime in the BCs or something like that. But I didn't know. I always thought so. This is how bad it was going in. The centerline rudder. I was like, holy shit! I didn't realize that. I thought it was every boat forever had the centerline rudder. You know,
yeah, that's one of those things you don't think about. I didn't really think about it either.
Yeah, it's like side rudders and quarter rudders were the ones, and all those Egyptian ships, they all had like the paddles were the ones that was steering on the back.
God, could you imagine? That gives you a different level of appreciation of coordination. To coordinate all those oarsmen to make it. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. I mean, okay. So you think of this. Yes. No. And here's another. So I'll give you two examples. So the trireme. You have the oarsmen on the side, and the trireme. It could use the sail, but that wasn't its major method of propulsion, especially in combat. It was the oarsmen, and they had to be so coordinated. And then you have like the side rudder had to coordinate with the oarsmen to get the ship going. Can you imagine the level of, coordination that you would need? Right. You're talking about 400 oarsmen sitting there working in unison, and then you want the ship to tack left, like 2 degrees. So the oarsmen on the right, have to, paddle at 10% or whatever it is, and that drummer's sitting there trying to give out the correct commands with his drums and shit like that. I don't know. It would have been hard.
Yeah, it's funny we don't think, just kind of again the nuance to these little things that you don't think about now. It's one of those cases. Back to the wonders of technology.
Oh yeah, no.
People think they have it rough now. Could you imagine being chained to a goddamn oar?
Okay, no,
20 hours a day.
Yeah, no, this is a job option in Rome. Like, you could become an oarsman. You signed a 27-year contract to become an oarsman.
Do I get dinner benefits? No.
Yeah, they were highly sought after because the good oarsmen were hard to, find. Right. It's a dangerous job. But yeah, can you imagine a lifetime, 27 years, you don't get weekends off, there's no paid vacation. There's nothing like that. Nothing. Maybe retirement. They may have given you land at the end of it. I can't remember.
You're too busted down to make use of it. Time to pop out a bunch of kids who can run the farm.
I know, exactly. There it is. I fight for the Roman army for 25 years. They give you a piece of land and say, now feed yourself. And I'm like, just all along. So, you know what? Do you want to take some of the game design topics I have? Oh, yes. A couple of these are close to your heart. First, I'm going to just let you go on your tirade. Tell me why. Tell me about your D30 system and why the D30 is the best die that no one gives a shit about except special people. Great people. Okay, so
that's not a lot more offensive than it was intended.
I love the D30. Okay, it's so heavy in the hand. It rolls and rolls and rolls. Like some D20s, like especially the newer D20s, they just clunk, clunk, clunk a few times because they got the really sharp edges and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then you don't have the wear and tear that the old dice had, so you don't ever get the roly-poly method unless it's designed that way. Anyway, the D30 just gave me so many more options for like pluses and minuses. It's like the D20 plus, but you can add more and subtract more. You can level up more. It's just a wider range, right? But it's not quite the D100, which required 2 dice, or the dice was too big or too unstable. It was really, really manageable. And I really fell in love with the D30 when I designed the game Cleaver the Pit. And it's a pit fighting game, but the D30 was the major dice. And I bought everyone a D30 dice. Everyone just freaking loved rolling that dice on the table. It was
a game with it.
Do what?
But no one wanted to game with it.
No one really wants to game with it, which I can't understand. I mean, the D20 gives you an easy, 5% thing that you can roll around in your head. And the D30 is not a clean one. What is it? It's going to be like 3.1% or whatever it is. But still, it just gives you that many more options. And then the D20 could be relegated to lower creatures, like if you go into combat, say if you design a combat system, the D30 is the hero's dice, right? That's what the characters get to roll. And then the monsters get to roll the D20. Some of the monsters would get to roll the D20. so that you'd have, levered up. Your characters would be, if you wanted to run a game like that.
You give them kind of a heroic edge.
You give them that heroic edge, and it's a pretty big edge. But again, once you start throwing bonuses and stuff in there, you can even it out. It gives you a lot more to work with. So I think it's an unsung hero of a dice that allows you to play. I mean, do more with. It just gives you more options, more room to maneuver. Because the D20, again, you assume everything has an armor class of 10 base. That really only gives you like 10 points to work everything in.
Right.
All your armor, all your bonuses, really, if you want to go up to a 20. But the D30, even if you gave, so for example, when I was doing the arms book and I was into the armor section and I wanted to create a system whereby you could put on pieces of armor to create an armor class, right?
Mm-hmm.
That falls apart really quickly because you only have 10 numbers to work with. On the D30, you have 20 numbers to work with. So 20 different, you can go from 11 to 30 as your AC. I don't know. For me, it just gave me so many more options.
It makes sense, but the real problem is the big D20 lobby holding the D30 back. That's what it is. It's a conspiracy.
There is a conspiracy. There's the people.
Oh, yeah. People. That's like trying to get people to play D6 based games, and D6s are in every dice set. And like, I like roll my D20. Ah! Oh my god, you people! People don't want to change. They don't want to try anything new. They don't want to experiment. It's just
no. Well, okay, there's a funny thing too about the D30 because there really is no reason why you can't use the D30. There's none. The D100 I can understand why because it's 2 dice, right? But there's so many.
Can't read them still.
Yeah, exactly. There's how many D100 systems out? There's half a dozen at least, that are still played. I mean, so people can do it. But I can understand the complaint against that is that, you're adding, it's just more you have to add in your head. So it's one step further you have to, which honestly, not that much.
We're lucky most people can do the math, the basic D&D math, let alone another 10 points on a die. My God, that's going to be a big ask for them. They're going to be like, Grok, help me understand this. And it tells them wrong.
But what you get buried in is this tradition, okay? Traditionally the D20's it, and that's become the set. That's the standard. The D20. That's
it's hand in hand with Dungeons and Dragons, even though the hobby is much more than Dungeons and Dragons or should be. When people think tabletop games, you're talking about D&D. Wait, you only play what? That's not D&D. I want to play D. It's that baked in, kind of institutionalized. The man who owns the D20s. He wants you. So, a quick side tangent. So my better half, she is, yes.
Wait, okay, so the reason the D20 there, so when Gary first designed the game, he couldn't get a D30. They didn't exist.
Whoa. Gary was looking for D30s?
I don't know if he was or not, but
I'm going to say he was.
The option wasn't even there.
Right. But if it had been,
I guarantee who would have used it. I guarantee it. Because he bought those dice from that, correct me if I'm wrong, someone out there will know this. He bought the initial set of dice or used the dice that he chose in the game because there was a Japanese company that made those dice. That was the reason those dice were chosen.
That seems to ring familiar and true.
Yeah. So I can almost guarantee you that if Gary had the option to have a D30 in the game, he would have chosen a D30 as part of the game.
It's funny. Today there was some issue. I was driving home today and I got thinking about Gary and how sad it is that he passed when he did, because there's imagine him being alive today with all kinds of questions and stuff like that. And it's really fascinating to look over his, especially his more recent work and his posts, like you see crop up in the forums. He was fascinating on so many levels, and it'd be interesting to know his insights. I don't know. It's just it made me sad today thinking about that.
Yeah, no, I would like. It would be really nice to have him around to ask him some questions about.
And, they say don't meet your heroes, but he always ever. He was like he'd let people sleep on his couch in Wisconsin when they were like.
Gary was also.
I wouldn't let some weirdo sleep on my couch, but
No, I wouldn't either.
There's another story I heard about him the other day. I'm not going to tell it here because I'll tell you later, because it slightly veers into a little bit of politics, a little bit of what's going on in Watsy right now, and it's like we're not touching it, but I let us off. But yeah, talking about D20s. In their value. So my better half, she is a dice dragon. She spent $1,000 on a backer kit for Gatekeeper die. I think it's Gatekeeper dice. They make these really, these right here. Like these. They make specialty dice. I think they made the dice for this year's year. I think he did every Gary Con. Your brother would be jealous. He's the alien dice. They glow in the dark. But she started going through all these Chessex dice she had, and she found out some of them are really valuable, and they're not allowed to be made anymore because the materials they made to make the color flake, the gold flakes in them and stuff, has been utilized in the creation of currency in the European Union, and now that's like material you can't buy anymore. So now these dice are like worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So I'm like, he's like, I just thought they were just pretty, and not here they're worth all this money now.
Oh yeah, no, and that's why all those little things. You were talking about the science fiction books earlier. For $1, $1.50, I would have bought I would have bought all of them. All of them I could.
Yeah, I probably should.
Because like I mean, my brother's finding out because he's trying to buy some old editions of stuff that aren't in print anymore. So, and he will not do the PDF.
Yeah.
He's going to have to get it print. So he's paying premium for these print 1970 books and stuff like that.
And, circling back to, bookstores, and that's what's kind of killed used bookstores is because everybody knows what shit's worth now.
Yep.
There's no like finding treasures unless, the best story I heard was Jason Vey was in a half price bookstore, which used to be my favorite bookstore in Texas, because you see cheap used books. Well, apparently things have changed because he walked in there and one of the Amazing Adventures books was in the collector's case for like, jacked up $20-$30 premium. And he's like, this book's still in print. It's like, it's not worth that. I'm like, well, how would you know? I wrote it. He pulls his driver's license and they're like, yeah, well, yeah, sure thing, bud. Like,
so I think the collector's market destroyed the hobby market. For us, so I collected comics for a long time, or bought comics, I should say. Can't manage the collections.
For the betterment of the books.
Yes, for the betterment of the books, he managed that. I just bought a lot of them. But then the comic books got crazy once the collector's market started to get big, and the prices of comics explode. I don't know what the last Superman went for, #1 went for, but I think it was in the millions,
Another area where that's true, like, growing up in the late 80s, early 90s was like the best time for being a kid in toys, like the 3.5-inch G.I. Joe figures and all this. It was high quality. The molds sculpts look good, all this stuff. Now they want more money in China to make that same stuff. So they're like, shit, we can't make toys at, of this quality anymore for kids. So now it's all went to collector's lines. And now you're like $20 for, a collector's edition, Lando Calrissian or Darth Vader. And it's like, they say, well, kids just aren't playing with toys anymore. No, they can't afford toys anymore, or the ones they can afford are crap.
Yeah, and there's who is so that collector's market. We're like,
I got priced out of Star Wars. I give up.
I got priced out of comics. After a while, I was like, I'm not spending like $5 for a comic or whatever it ended up, $3.25 for a comic. Not going to do it. And then the #1s. It's like every week there was a new number one. How many #1 Supermans are there now? Like 500.
Probably.
And they're all like, they try to turn them into collector editions, right? And then they did the tinfoil covers or, different covers for
And you can't force something into collector status.
No.
It was like when we had the liquidator shop, one area was a lot of boxes and stuff of stuff from when I was a kid that was stored. And I started looking at the value for it. Then that was about the time when people were like the old school Star Wars action figures that came out when the original 3 movies. Those are worth money, still worth money. And I was like, these are going to be worth so much more money. And I remember as a kid, I'd be so mad because these swarthy looking sweaty dudes would go to like hit all the stores in the area and buy up all the Star Wars action figures and then be scalping them at the flea market that weekend.
Oh,
and now they're not worth jack shit because everybody got them. They kept them. And it's like everybody, keeping their 2005 red Corvette. Well, there's a bajillion of them, and they're not worth anything.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to go out there and get a 2010 Ford F-150? Pay extra money for that. I mean, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, you can't artificially make a collectible. It's like all the collectibles our parents bought from the various, Franklin. It's like some of the stuff's really neat, but it's overpriced. It's not worth anything now. It's nice to look at, and I hate that.
It's nice to look at. But you think of this too. So when that collector's market, say in the late 1990s, especially, or the early 2000s to 2010, is when it absolutely imploded. I think because the boomer generation, or that I hate to say boomers, but that generation.
Thank you. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah,
that's a whole tirade.
that generation they came of age, and then started to retire, and they're going through their closet, and they're throwing stuff away, and then they find out, oh wait, this stuff is worth stuff. Let me try to sell it, and suddenly you find out that whatever product it was that had been selling, I can't remember. I can actually show you a product. Here, hold on.
What we really need is a tour of Davis's museum.
So I have a series of plates, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These are Russian mythology plates, right? Mm-hmm. They're made by some company in Germany in 1982. And they're just beautiful plates, right? Yeah. And I was into D&D at the time, and I just, I love the mythology of it, and I like the imagery, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy these plates. So I bought all the plates in that whole line. Now I happen to be, I broke one, and I wanted to replace it.
As you do.
Yeah, as I do. And then, so I got on eBay, and I was looking to replace that particular plate. And this is in the early 2000s. And it was like $3,500, $4,000 to get the plate. These cost me like $8 a plate back in 1983. It's just a plate. I mean, that's it. Literally it. So I didn't buy the plate.
Well, if I ever see one at a flea market, I'll call you and say, Davis, this is the one.
Well, I looked about 2 years ago, and I think the plates are now going for like $15, $20, and something like that. Because everyone, because there were 10,000 made or whatever it was, there's thousands, and people were like, oh, this is worth something. Let's put it up on eBay. And then suddenly that market collapsed. So I think the sudden flood of a lot of material.
Oh yeah.
Collapse it, because it's scarcity. It has to be scarce, and then it has to be desirable.
Yeah, and I mean, the companies that do these collectible lines, they're smart because they know FOMO, fear of missing out. If they can convince you that it might be collectible someday, it might be worth something someday, you'll buy it.
Oh, isn't there a company that we know of that's in trouble for that right now?
Yes. Yeah. What's the name of them? I forget.
Yeah. Didn't they do something with their gathering cards? I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a whole other topic. But coming back to game design, this is something I've wanted to talk to you about because you mentioned it once before after I had racked my brain about it a bit. And you... Oh my God, he has a chest of treasure.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
So
I'm thinking about my D30.
I need my D30.
Here's my D30.
I'm going to go order one now. But you once talked about that you had thought about a skill-based siege system. No classes, just skills. How much thought have you put in?
A lot. A whole lot.
Can you elaborate?
Here's another D30.
You know what? Let me tell you about why I started thinking about it. How many D3s do you have?
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about all that's left.
You know what? That's more D3s than my better half has. You have something she doesn't.
These are dice going back forever. This is from this tiny little 12-sided dice has to be from one of the basic sets in the 1980s.
Wow. You know, that just talking about a collectability, that alone is probably worth at least a few dollars.
At least $1.
At least $1.
But anyway, all right, go ahead with the skill system.
Yeah, so this was my thinking because, you know, several years ago, my hope someday is to run a sci-fi campaign because
yeah, go on.
Sci-fi is my bread and butter. Like I came into fantasy late in life, but sci-fi was a lot earlier, and I've been, you know, picking away at my own setting for a variety of reasons. We can talk about it some other time, but. You know, I was thinking, okay, what kind of system do I want to run with it? And, you know, I started looking to see, you know, this is going to be sacrilege to some people in the Troll Word circles. I'm sorry. But I'm a firm believer some systems are better for certain things than others. Yeah. Class systems are good for certain things, but class systems don't give you the flexibility of a skill-based system. And I started thinking, like, well, I wonder what it would take to turn the siege system into a skill-based system. And I thought about more and more, but then I thought, wait a minute, Traveler's already done this. So maybe I'd be better off, you know, because there is a great thriving community of it's called Cepheus Engine, which was kind of like the OSR spinoff of Traveler, which is third party. And they've done a lot of great stuff. And some of these games are crunchy as shit. You know, I got 30, 40 different types of skills. And, you know, you can make it as crunchy or as not as you want. And I kind of reached a point like, at what point is it better just finding a system that's kind of already built for it versus reinventing the wheel? A time later, you're talking about, I really want to, you know, investigate a siege-based skill system. I'm like, oh, really? I'm going to have to talk to him about this. And 2 years later, here we are.
Okay. Yes, I have it's not really, it's sort of a skill system, sort of not. I call it self-actualizing advancement. Okay. So
that sounds like some guru's program. You're like, give me $1,000 for my seminar on self.
I know exactly. I was trying to think of something really stupid, and but that I could make an acronym for that sounds really, really cool. I don't know where my notes are, but I have an acronym for the system. But it's a self-actualizing system. So you start with like this basic set of skills, and how you perform is what you get. What you do well at in game is what you get better at. All right. So it's not a skill system per se where you gain a level and do this. Yeah. If you don't do X, you just never get any better at it.
It's like real life.
It's just like real life. So I've set up a self-actualizing system like that. Now, how would that work in sci-fi? Speaking of which, my brother and I are working on a semi-sci-fi setting. Not a setting, really, just adventures. So, you know, did you get, if not, let me know. Who was the Free Fire Zone?
I'll
send you a PDF.
Actually, I don't have that.
I'll send you a PDF. It's not really a sci-fi setting.
It's like a survival zombie. I don't. We
don't really have a setting. It's a
thing. It's a thing.
It's a one shot. You play some characters, try to get through this situation. Well, we've come up with situation 2. You know, so we have all these situations that we want to work with, and it's set in the future, somewhat. You know, somewhere in the future, and has that element to it. But the sci-fi thing, we have discussed doing a sci-fi game, but we have not thought about a skill system.
Well, I know Star Siege, which is the sci-fi spinoff of Amazing Adventures, floating.
Yeah.
There was a PDF, and I swear one time Steve said they printed that original PDF, the original that they printed, but they never went on sale anywhere. So I still believe that somewhere in the warehouse there is a box full of those things that everybody forgot about. But I know it's supposed to be revisited and reforged and all that stuff, because I had the Star Siege PDF somewhere.
Well, I'll keep an eye out. We'll be moving with storeroom around here in the next few months. So
yeah, well, it's funny. I actually told Steve, I was like, if you need some extra backs to help move that stuff, I'll probably not be doing anything that day, and also bring all my hand carts and shit, make it easier for you guys. Like, I got all this shit to move our shop and sit in a storage container. I'm like, it's not doing anything. You guys want to, use it for the day? I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy me lunch. That's fine.
Are you forklift certified? Yeah. What's funny is
totally. Yeah, I can run it. I can run a forklift certified. No,
I've never actually run a certified. I was making that as a joke, and apparently Dakota is forklift certified. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Are there really certifications for that?
Oh yeah. So my better half's daughter, I think she just got she works at Walmart, and she just got. They asked, like, would you be willing to do the training and certification process for the forklift? Yes. Oh, thank God, no one else wants to. I'm like, he doesn't want to drive forklift.
Yeah, no kidding.
So when I was a kid, my dad, his original shop, he shared the yard with Heister Forklift. They had I think it was like a kind of outline repair facility, and they always had 30 or 40 lifts on the yard that they contracted out or whatever, however they did this shit. It was in the 90s. Yeah. But my dad had the master key that would fit any Heister. He still does. And he would, if he needed to move something in the shop, he'd just go get one offline. They didn't give a shit. And sometimes I get to drive them, and they thought so much of him when he had to move out there, like, well, we're going to, do some bookkeeping, and we're going to get our biggest forklift that you need and unload it at the other end. And he had the run of a forklift the whole for 2 or 3 days. He just left out there and picked it back up. So
that's sort of cool.
He was not certified either, but
he's not certified. I'd love to be like a forklift driver and be, on one of those TikToks where they knock over all the shelves. I want to be one of those guys.
You need one of those forklifts with, the big rubber off-road wheels, so you can do it like on your property, knock down half the house and shit. Right. Be TikTok famous. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, it made me really think about the possibilities. Because like I said, class system's not like, say you want to make a character who is like say Indiana Jones, for example, like he was really smart and he knows about archaeology in this, but he can handle a gun and he can you can with like the class and a half stuff kind of simulate it.
Yeah.
But skills, it's like Call of Cthulhu is brilliant that way. Like you can really, the way they do their systems is pretty neat. Yeah,
I think that so class, or let's just say skill-based systems.
And of course, now in Traveler, if you do it the proper way, you do like through the life path system. You do each term, and you maybe get an advancement, maybe you don't, maybe you die. Maybe you kicked out of your career.
I love the Traveler setup system.
If you, I'll just send you the PDF for Clement Sector. So there's this one guy, John Watts of Independence Games, and he's done his own whole setting. He's got like 20 or 30 freaking sector books that details all the system stuff from his home game, but he's put in a ton of work, and he has the most fleshed out like life path system. There are so many careers that he has in tables for events and shit, and it's just like I just like reading the stuff, and it's fun to like just roll through them and like, let's see what I get at after 10 terms. Oh, I'm dead. Never mind.
Oh yeah.
I'm crippled. Never mind. I'm kicked out of the Space Marines. And
oh no, I remember sometimes on the bus going into school, if I wasn't in a fight, I would pull out my traveler books and actually just roll characters and sit in the back of the bus.
And then like working on the the setting side of it, I'll be like, you know what, I have a character idea. Let's run them through the life path system and see where they come out. And then sometimes it's kind of like, oh, that's really interesting. Like one of the tables is like your parents. It was like you come from a like a polygamist family. I'm like, well, you know, we do have space Mormons. This makes sense. It's like like the most extreme like Mormons, like we're going to go off to the far corners of space and do our own thing.
Right.
And,
yeah.
Like,
and you know that would happen too. You know that would happen. Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, it kind of makes sense if you're starting a new colony and you need more bodies to work. If you have a limited number of people, I mean, morality aside, I kind of understand the practical side of having lots of kids. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the declining birth rates now. We don't need as many kids because if you have 10 kids now, they all survive generally to adulthood.
No.
100 years, 100 years ago. That's not a given.
No, 100 years ago it was like 55% or 60%.
Yeah. It's fascinating to go for these old cemeteries and see
150 years ago. Yeah, the whole population thing. There's also the trajectory, say even in the 70s, there was let's just say no one saw this coming with the robotics and how populations may change with regards to technological development, like the whole population collapse and stuff like that. Or we're not there yet.
No.
They say we're there. We're not there yet. We're right at it, but
we're on the verge.
You know that can switch in one generation. That can totally be up in 10 years.
And me being somewhat optimistic, it's like if the population retracts, though, it also solves a lot of the other issues we're worrying about too. So it's like.
Well, okay. So
I mean, there might be benefits.
I think looking at the population, rather than look at the past like 10 or 20 years of population growth, or 40 years, or 50 years of population growth, it's more important to look at the past 1,000 years of population growth and look at it on a graph. And you say, whoa. The past 100 years have been somewhat extraordinary. Our population has exploded. Yeah. And there may be, sort of like with, there's the whole idea of carrying capacity. We're not even close to the carrying capacity. But carrying capacity has more to do with just than how much you can eat.
All right.
It's if you put rats in a confined space.
Yeah, it's chaos.
Then it'll eventually turn to chaos, and they won't have babies after a while. They quit. You can overfeed cattle till they just quit having babies. You can overfeed pigs and chickens the same way. But anyway, that's beside the point. So what Traveler didn't foresee is the whole robotics things, because I can foresee a future where there's like the need for like bodies is like minimal. I mean, it's tiny. The need because robots or whatever will be doing the vast majority. I mean, who the hell needs to go on a spacewalk? Send a robot out to do it. Who the hell needs to go down and do some mining? Send a robot down to do it.
Yeah. But it's funny talking about unforeseen developments. So my sci-fi setting kind of came about like, it's been 6-7 years ago. I had that moment of it's like this on the series of Futurama where Bender says, "Screw you guys, I'm going to build my own casino with blackjack and hookers." I had reached that point with like, I was a long-time hardcore Star Wars nerd, and I kind of checked out long before the sell to Disney for various reasons. But I was like, I'm running games here. I've been writing on and off for my life. Screw it. I'm just going to make my own setting with the stuff I like and the stuff I don't like.
Yeah.
And then it's like, laying out what's the next 100 years going to look like, to kind of get to give a foundation of where we build from, 600-700 years in the future, because I need to know this. Start outlining events. And you know what? It's funny. A lot of the timeline has been off by several years, forward or back, but how many events that I nailed, like war in Russia, I was like, son of a bitch, I wrote about this. And there's several other things, but then like the explosion of AI, I'm like, I'm going to have to go back and figure out how this works out. It's and
Yeah,
and
see,
it
that's an interesting one, is the AI one, because it was all there in the background everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
But it was never to the forefront. I think maybe Arthur C. Clarke did the best to bring it to the forefront, but not really. Okay. Because how AI, and let's just say social media and stuff like that, phones and crap like that have changed society, right?
Mm-hmm.
And AI is going to continue to change how we interact with one another and computers in the world around us. No one saw or dealt with, that I'm aware of, that angle in science fiction, how that would affect society. And that's what science fiction is really good for, is how science interacts and social interaction. But no one's really come close. You know who actually, so I'm going to say this. You mentioned Star Trek, right? No, Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you watch Star Trek?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Star Trek, and I think it was the Tribbles one. Trouble with Tribbles. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And the Ukraine War. You've brought together, so Star Trek and the Ukraine War, okay, have all come together. I think it's in Trouble with Tribbles. The reason that whole planet was abandoned was because there was a war or whatever. There were so few, or whatever. I think it was empty.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. But as I recall, it's probably been 40 years since I've seen it. So my recollection may be a little bit bad here. That planet was abandoned or emptied, or very few people on it, because they had had a war. But the war was conducted by people who were sitting in bunkers, and they were just shooting missiles at each other. Okay.
Yeah.
They never picked up guns. They never saw each other, and they never even communicated or whatever. They just shot missiles from distances at each other.
Right.
And that,
we're kind of getting there.
Yeah, no, and that's where we are in, like, look at, Ukraine and stuff like that. So,
and the development of technology and writing this thing, it's interesting to me because I'm trying to see what society may look like. But when I look at AI and robotics both, it's going to change the world. It's just a question of how much, because you have the AI bros. You're like, everything's going to be different. Every single person's going to be replaced. And it's like, okay, you're overpromising. When you start looking at maybe a lot of what I'm seeing of the capability of AI, it's just not there.
No.
And I don't know if it's going to. There's a really good channel by a guy, Dave Plummer. He was a Microsoft systems engineer for like 20 years or some shit. And he plays a lot with AI, and he's been talking a lot about the coding side of it. And he says, yes, I use AI to, do coding, but I think at least for the short term to near future, I think AI, instead of replacing humans for the most part, it's going to augment us. It's like when it comes to coding, you cannot trust AI code on its own. You have to look it over, but it saves time to let the actual coder to do the thing he really wants to do. He's like if I want to do XYZ, I tell it to lay this basic framework. I check it, make sure it's fine, then I build inside of that. Now I don't have to do all that grunt work. And then you see all these big companies, like I think it's IBM the other day, they're laying off all their coders, like, we don't need coders anymore, and they're like, we need to hire coders back.
You can still
you're going to need less coders, but you're still going to need them.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting.
I think you're right. AI is augmented it, and now I don't even know if it's augmenting that much. But I know specifically, I've talked to a few people who use AI programs to help with them with their work, and it helps immensely. Now,
I see the potential.
That said, I think the tech bros, when they're talking about AI, they're trying to sell a product, right?
Yeah. Well, they start overpromising every time they need investment.
Yeah,
like, we think it might be sentient this week. We need some more money.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why you doom around the corner, invest now, or you're never going to have anything. So I see AI as a set of tools. Like, you go out to your garage and you go to your socket box, right? And you pull out your sockets for each little thing. That's all AI is. It's a set of little teeny tiny tools to help you accomplish X, Y, and Z tasks. I would argue, and I know that people are going to disagree with me, but I would argue that Photoshop is AI. as soon as it started. Okay.
People, there's been several conversations I've seen about this when Photoshop started coming out and they started, coming out with brushes to do patterns. Like, that's not real art.
Yes.
And damn well, back when there was some caveman who was still doing, finger painting on the wall, and some, the other caveman invented the brush, which I wonder when the brush was actually invented, but like, that's not art. Ooga booga. This is art. And
yeah, no, I think that argument has been going on for thousands of years.
The dawn of humanity.
Yes, because I remember specifically when Photoshop came out, and there was an argument as to whether or not people who use Photoshop were doing real art. Okay, and it was a big argument. It wasn't overnight, and it wasn't simply solved. It was solved with time. As more and more people used Photoshop, and
there were similar feelings when draftsmen, when CAD programs
started
coming along. The traditional draftsmen are like, "That's wrong. That's blah 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 blah. It's going to destroy the industry." Blah. My dad was, to his credit, like an early adopter. He realized the power of AutoCAD. He's like, "I'm going to go to our local community college and learn how to do this thing," and we had several drawing boards, and he never touched them again. And it helped him work faster. It augmented him.
You look at those pictures of those. I don't even know what the companies are called. Where the drafts for buildings were made, or whatever, and you see like rows and rows of desks and people leaning over those things.
Yeah, the draft rooms.
Yeah, and there's hundreds of them. They're all gone now. I mean, and with a pen anymore. I mean,
now CAFCON one, it's kind of a fine line. It's like, a very good example of this where we're going to see a huge revolution is like I was a big Jurassic Park kid, loved the movie, saw all the making tos and how to, and I remember the videos of the huge server rooms they had to do CGI.
Yeah.
To do the texturing on the dinosaurs and all this shit. So much compute power. Now AI can do that like that. Now it's not there yet, but it's getting there. And I can see, instead of having that much compute power to do this, they can say AI, however they figure out how to do the work process. It's going to be a tool. And in 20 years, it's going to be no different than a guy who has a digital brush in Photoshop, who's like, instead of like doing the texturing on his art piece by hand, he's going to say, "Hey, AI, do this," and it's going to do it, and he's going to touch it up. I mean, that's not to say there's not still moral and ethical questions about other people's stuff, and I mean.
Well, as CAFCON said, it's he as a graphic designer, he says it's not AI, and I'm fine with that.
It's not my wheelhouse, and it's kind of like, I'm just over here. I'm not an artist.
Yeah,
you guys figure it out. I mean, I don't know.
I don't do graphic design. I don't do art. I don't. I wanted to be. I honestly wanted to be when I went to college. That was one of my goals, is to be an artist. And I just, for those of you who want to be an artist, just stick with it.
Yeah, it's easy to stick with it.
Just stick with it. I mean, it can be like a
side
night, but don't give up, because as every artist has told me over the years, it's time in. It's just like with the market. If you don't time the market, it's time in the market,
Yep.
So just keep practicing and going and going and going.
I mean,
but anyway, that's my advice to anyone who wants to do anything. Just stick with it. But yeah, no, and this art argument's not new, because even before the Photoshop, I don't know. So there's this thing called, oh my God, no, it goes back to the 60s, even Andy Warhol. There were people who said Andy Warhol wasn't an artist.
Yeah.
Then there's the industrial art in the 1980s, and people were saying that's not art.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it just keeps going.
There's nothing new under the sun. It's just a reinvention of old arguments.
Nothing
changes. I mean, the technology changes, but we have the same arguments, because it's like people arguing over electric cars and conventional cars versus horses in automobile. I mean, we've had all these same arguments.
Yeah, and the thing what'll happen is time will solve the issue.
Yeah.
And people
50
will,
years from now, they're going to be laughing at us.
yeah, and people will accept it or they won't. They'll be like, yeah, okay, we're good with this. We're not good with this, And this is what I actually think. Let's see, almost what Kev Cohn says. Ultimately, it's my talent as a designer and artist that makes the product.
I agree.
Yeah, no, and there's a significant difference. There is a significant leap between Photoshop and doing a prompt in an AI, like asking Grok to do something.
Yeah, and can AI generate stuff that looks pretty cool? Yeah, but it still has that kind of hollow feel to it. I think people are always going to go for authenticity. They're going to want a real human artist. Some human artists are going to do some of the grunt work with AI as a tool. I'm not saying they're just going to. I think it's ridiculous to call the people who are going to the Grok and giving a prompt like, make this thing as an artist. I mean, there is a lot of nuance to like figuring out how to make the prompt work. I agree. But does it make you an artist or a programmer?
Okay, so I know one guy a professional AI artist, and he gets paid buku bucks for his art, right? Buku bucks. It takes him. When I was talking to him, I'm not going to say who it is. He's on Twitter, but the last time I talked to him about it was about a year ago, and he said to produce one piece of art took him almost 200 hours of work because he had to log the hours because he was charging by the hour. And he would have to go through and change prompts and change prompts and change prompts, change word orders and stuff to get even nearly what he wanted it to look like in his head. And then he had to bring it over to Photoshop for some of it, but there's another program out there that people use that he uses. But he had to bring it through like 4 or 5 programs, and then go manually or Photoshop, through the program to fix it the end result of what he wants. But he gets paid buku bucks for it. Now, is it art? I'm not going to say it's art one way or the other. That's not my call. Humans in general will say that's,
everybody has their opinion. Our opinions aren't worth that much. History will decide what matters.
What I think will happen, and this is what I honestly think will happen, it'll become mainstream after a while because it's just, it's yeah.
The only issue I look at is the legal side of it's not been hashed out. And I think anybody who is like jumping in head first and just, generating AI product willy-nilly, you might be asking for trouble.
Well, and that has not been hashed out. And that is a significant freaking issue. That is a very significant issue that I think it gets glossed over somewhat. And I've glossed it over in the past, right? Well, see, if someone can tape a bit, okay. I looked at art exhibitions the other day, and I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not art.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it'll become mainstream, and I think there will still be people who produce and want to see what I would call authentically human as it becomes mixed, Right. So the authentically human, I honestly think, will become much more valuable with time, right?
Yeah. Because we've always had slop. It might not have been AI. It's like, okay, a great example is the publishing industry, indie publishing. A lot of indie publishers right now are like, oh my God, we're going to be drowned in AI slop. Wait a minute. You can go on Amazon right now and see a 50 bazillion crappy self-published stories. That shit's always been out there. But your work is more valuable because you're a good writer. You tell good stories. You have people who love you, leave good reviews. That's going to be in demand. Yeah. I've seen, when I'm reading, usually I can tell when something's AI generated and it doesn't ring
Well, I don't think I'm hoping that this happens with the people who use AI, because I would say that the AI is hard, and I think maybe perhaps I don't really have the time to, but I may do some research and try to find those AI artists who produce unique and original things. Okay,
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Because I think what most people are seeing and getting upset about are like someone does a cover to a comic book and uses an AI generator to do the cover to the comic book, right?
Yeah.
And that's just like it's within our genre, or like they do a module that's all AI or something like that, and get upset that a machine did that, not a human. And I get that, but there are those people who are using, like creating AI art that's unique. Now, I know that it has to pan through and pull from 10,000 million images created by humans to get the basic idea, but they're actually creating really unique visions and things that you don't see. They're not going to be on the cover of books or anything like that. No. They're just,
right now, using AI for creative purposes that are not for profit. Yeah, because it's actually been interesting to like take a description of a D&D monster that's never had any art.
Yeah,
put it into a prompt and see what it comes up with, and sometimes it's like, holy shit! It's either holy shit, that's really interesting. Holy shit, that's stupid.
Yeah, and I don't see a problem with it. I mean, TLG has made the position we're not going to use AI art. We're not going to use AI artists. It's nothing against AI art or AI artists. It's just we're going a different path, right? Yeah. I'm not now. I sort of wanted to do it for a product of mine. I was like,
boycott Monday morning at TLG inbound.
And whenever I post like a picture on that, I think most people know when I'm using Grok to make something. But if I use Kling to make something, and I've had a Kling account for a year, and I've only made like 30 pictures on it, of which I've posted like half a dozen. And I'm paying for that shit. I should at least use it for something. But I think using it for like your home games or for image or idea generation and stuff like that is just fine. I don't like it. And they can produce some really good images. I can tell you. Yeah, no, I won't say who, but yeah.
Yeah. There's some other things I could say too, but you know what? So we have about 30 more minutes before I have to get in my Jeep and drive down to South Side of Batesville, do a pickup. Okay. But there's one more. I mean, we've only gotten to like half of the bullet points I had, and one of the subjects I want to talk about, and it's going to be too in depth probably for the next 30 minutes, but I would really like to have you back and talk about the developmental history of the Blacktooth Ridge, that module, everything that went into it, and just different things about it.
Oh my God. Do I have to reread it?
No, you don't have to reread it. Because there's a lot of observations I've made, and I don't. Maybe some of my questions will jog your memory and answer questions I have wondered about for years. But the funniest shit is looking at that map and then looking at the map of Arkansas. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, I've been here before. Wait a minute. This is just my backyard.
Crowley's Ridge.
One day I will have to tell you about the adventure to Botkenberg, Arkansas.
Yeah. You've actually been to Botkenberg.
Oh yeah, I told you about that. But instead of talking about that,
if you have a question, you can ask. I don't know. We'll see what I can. Anyway, we can do that another time if you want.
So I know from the other day you said you had big feelings about this, about one of the things that you wanted done in CNC that didn't happen, and that was the tertiary attribute system. You had the floor to rant and rave about this because I want to hear it, because I think that system, I don't know if I've used it in all but one game I've ran.
So the tertiary system?
Yep.
Okay. So think of a pyramid. It's 3 sides, 3 points. And then you have your mind, body, spirit, 3 sides, 3 points. You have your attribute scores, 3 to 18, divisible by 3, 6, 9, whatever. You get it? Sets of 3s make sense. They just philosophically, spiritually, and let 3 is like, and it's the golden number, isn't it? Is that what it's called, a golden number or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah. But your set of 3. So, and when we originally had the classes, I think it was 12 classes, divisible by 3. And I was like, what would make this thing perfect is just perfect symmetry is an attribute system, the attribute check system, primary, secondary, tertiary, a set of 3. So you'd have 3 or 12, 15, 18. Just works out. Everything sort of syncs together when you do it as sets of 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for my head, now am I just stepping on a deep? And then you throw the 4th dimension or 3rd dimension into it. And it's like, well, what are we going to do now? So yeah, no, that's the thing for me is that, like, in the very beginning, I wanted everything to make sense, like number wise, and everything to have the same, baseline. And 3 was it. 3 is your baseline to work with. 3 works out for everything. Everything was supposed to be in sets of 3. And then you have, so you had your 3 sets of attributes. Strength and dexterity were 1, constitution and charisma, then wisdom and intelligence, were your sets of attributes. There were going to be 12 classes. Each was going to get prime, secondary, tertiary. And I had them all lined out into this like schematic of 3s, And to me, it just made perfect sense. And you'll notice that the D30.
It all comes back to the D30. See, this has been a grave injustice. The Seacher system had been based on D30, and you've been robbed of greatness.
And the only thing that I wish that could be created somehow is a D3 without using a D6.
I think they actually might have one. I don't think it rolls very good, but it does exist. I mean,
you can do one of those weird shaped dice, I guess. But anyway, that was the thing with that, and I think using the tertiary system gives the players a metric ton more options to work with.
Yeah, instead of just being like super good or super bad, it's more round. It's more rounded, and it makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah, it makes life a little bit easier, and being more rounded. It also gives you options too. So consider that humans get 3 primaries, right?
Yep.
So you could actually, break that up and say humans get 2 primaries and 3 secondaries. You could do your races like that, or give your classes various bumps or, things like that. It also allows you to create more skills, essentially, or abilities to work with that may not be super impactful to the game necessarily, but you know how everyone wants to be like, well, am I a sailor or something like that?
And that was something I was going to kind of set aside, but I think it fits in the context of the conversation. One of the interesting things that I stumbled upon was Gary's XP for skill system when he was working on Zygig.
Oh, yes.
And I found the PDF on that, which was apparently put out for free a long time ago. It came to my possession, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. Yeah. And then Joe Block over at BW Games, he did Adventures Deep and Dark, which was his take on what AD&D would have become had Gary not been kicked out of TSR, based on Gary's writings and magazines, interviews, forum posts, and he took that system and re-engineered it for basically AD&D.
Really?
And I saw it. I'm like, this is pretty neat, because sometimes, and it's pretty interesting if you're a DM who wants to kind of slow down the progression of skills. Like here, you don't really want that extra level. You want this skill that will give you an edge doing, a persuasion check over here.
Okay.
And
All right, so that's interesting. You mentioned that. I've not seen. I know of it, but I don't. I haven't recalled it in years. So
I can send you the PDF if you'd like afterwards.
yes, yes, send me the PDF. So when Castles and Crusades was the very first draft of Castles and Crusades, which is lost. All right. Now Mac may have it, and Steve may have it somewhere in a box somewhere. But we call it the Red Book because it was a red notebook, right? And it had the very first draft, all my rules, ideas, everything in it. That's the one that my brother said it was just a lot of math, and that's because there was no descriptive text in there. I mean, it's a game, it's a mechanic, so it just needed all the maths, all the chances, all the this is how it works, right? And so in the initial draft, everything had an experience point valuation. Okay. So a +1 to hit had an experience point valuation. Your hit dice had an experience point valuation. So a D8 for your hit dice was 800 experience points.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I can't remember what a +1 to hit was. I think it was like 1,200 experience points or something like that. Somewhere in there. Anyway. So what you could do is build your class from basically however many experience points you wanted to go up. So if you wanted a D8 hit points, you put aside, okay, 800 experience points to hit level 2. If you want the +1, you start with the +1, but 1,200 experience points to hit +2, whatever. And it was valued up the chain. And you could switch at any point along the thing. Once you hit like level 2, you could change up, instead of doing a D8 for your next hit point progression, you do a D4, and that would cost 400 experience points. So it was just valued up like that. So you could change your classes based on what you want it to be working up, which is one of the reasons why you rejected it.
I know. I'm just sitting there imagining Steve going like, what is all this? What is this? This is too much math. No, yes. I know him. Yeah, I could just see him reviewing it, but it's interesting though.
And it tore down. And well, I'm going to revisit it. But it tore down the idea of classes, right?
Right.
And so I put it into this weird zone between class and just a straight up skill system. So, but then we had the discussion, we had to go back to, and rightfully, archetypes, because that's what archetypes sell. Archetypes are more easily played, at least in fantasy settings. Maybe not in science fiction settings.
Right.
But that's interesting to hear. Send me that PDF. I want to look at that PDF again. That was with the original Zagig stuff?
Yes, as I understand it, and that's another thing. I said this to him the other day, Joe Block. I know you have met Joe Block because he says I've seen him at conventions and stuff, and I really like Joe. He's like one of the nicest guys in the OSR space, and I love his products. But I said I would like to get you and Davis talking about this because he re-engineered several of those classes that Gary had talked about, like the Jester and the
and stuff.
He was
the one who pulled all that stuff from Dragon's Foot and got it all together.
Yeah, and I had the PDFs because I want to get the hard copies, but the book is like that thick, and for a POD it's like $90. Yeah. And then his big theory is also like, well, right now Gary Gygax's stuff is breaking my wallet, so one's got to come after the other. But I had the PDF, and there's a really lot of interesting stuff in there, and it'd be interesting to see you both talk about, Gary's thoughts on these things, and I don't know, your different perspectives on them. I don't know. I think if I could see that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be willing to anytime.
I don't know him that well. I could ask him, and I mean, I talk him into it. He's on a lot of streams.
More importantly, ask him what he thinks Gary would have thought of the D30.
You know what? That's the only reason we to get him on stream. First question, Davis, ask him the question that answer that everybody wants to know about. Why do you think Gary would have? Then you're like, well, Gary did have some remarks about the D30 on this post here. That'd be funny as hell. If that
I
was
want
the case.
everyone to go buy a D30. Okay. And just roll it. It's way better than a D20. Anyway.
But
yeah, but D30 would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's interesting. So you were talking earlier about science fiction and skill-based systems for science fiction. You could do the experience point thing. The problem here's your problem with skill-based systems or working in the direction that I initially had Castles and Crusades going, is that there's two. One is the bloat.
Yeah, it's fun to think about crunchy systems, but then to actually run them and have players understand them.
Yeah. And then you get to option paralysis. Yeah. Where that
was third edition.
Yeah, exactly. You have 300.
And that's where fifth edition is now.
Yeah, you have 300 different skills you can choose from. Well, I'm going to spend the next 6 months making my character choosing the skill system.
Versus right now, CNC, it's like, okay, roll your hit dice, you get these abilities.
Yeah.
And if you want this, and in my case, now, like, do you want some skills? Yes. Here's a PDF. Tell me what you want. No.
Yeah, no. It's easy. I'm going to take all that away. Self-actualization. I will be the first person. I'm going to upend. I will upend the entire TTRPG industry. I will bring it to its knees. Everywhere.
You're going to end the tyranny of all these things.
Yes, no, I will break the system. I'm recreating. Actually, I'm sure someone else. No. I know no one else has done it. With the exception of one small, tiny company has done this same idea, though not to the extent that I want to, but it was a bunny rabbit game or something like that. Okay.
Why does that ring a bell?
Can't remember the name of the company. But I will upend the entire industry. I'm going to change your TTRPG experiences forever. You will be blinded.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question, and
the reason it may be only one company who produced the bunny rabbit game, who had the basic idea there, remained only as small as bunny rabbit.
Well, I'm going to ask another question. I mean, you've kind of already probably touched on this, I guess, in a sense, but in hindsight, what's at least one, maybe two things you've done differently with Castles and Crusades, besides the tertiary attribute system?
So here's the bit.
Let me get my list out.
No, okay. So I was obsessive. So, and one of the reasons I liked the initial draft is because mathematically everything lined up, right? And I could build everything off that simple math that I had. Everything could be built off that math, As soon as you screw with the math or throw in odd and evens or numbers that aren't divisible by 3, things start to get
weird.
Yeah, weird, right? So, so here's one thing. Weapons damage.
Oh, God. This is one of the things that was actually on the list, that and the signed product.
Oh, yeah, Adventures of Armory.
The controversial book from Total War Games.
So the weapons damage, you'll find there's a few weapons that the damage is different in the PHB and the Adventurers Armory. The PHB supersedes the Adventurers Armory, but I would say use the Adventurers Armory because it's more reasonable.
Right.
So one of the things about in PHB, I think we fixed it in the latest, but the most valuable weapon,
the club,
was the club. It was the single most powerful weapon in the entire game. Was a piece of wood that you could pick up off of the ground, right? So I had to change that. But the point being is that the weapons damages, we were limited to, I think, 2d6, 16 being the highest damage. But the range of damages needed to be codified so that within specific ranges, so that I could add weapons later that weren't in the PHB, but keep them within a reasonable range of what that type of weapon does. You know, like a dagger. Like daggers do a certain range of damage. Knives do a certain range of damage. Clubs do a certain range of damage. Swords do a wide range of damage, but based on the size of the sword, it does X range of damage. Size and weight of the sword, X range of damage. I wanted that codified, right? And we didn't codify it. And the other thing I wanted was experience point progression codified. I wanted an idea, evaluation for things as we did for the classes' abilities, so that we knew, like, predictably how those classes would progress. Now, Matt came in with a very good counter argument to that. But I wanted it so when we developed classes in the future, we would have something to work with, you know, so that
you have a baseline.
You have a baseline to work with, and you knew how things would progress and where powers were and stuff like that. Matt
That'd been very handy when I'm doing custom classes.
Exactly. So in the red book,
I'm going through this.
In the red book, all these abilities were codified with an experience point evaluation. Now, when Matt came back in and did the thing, Mac and Steve both were like, they would look at my experience point progressions and say, well, that just doesn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. So here's something interesting about people who play games for a long time, who have played TTRPGs for a long time, and do their own design work and have their own skill systems or whatever, develop their own in-home classes. They have been gaming for so long that certain things are so intuitively obvious to them that it needs not be addressed. They don't need to know the rules. They don't need to know the math. It's intuitively.
It's like a good body shop guy who can look at a fender and see that it's just a hair off, and like that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, exactly. You know, whereas someone new would come in, or someone like me would come in and say, "Well, let me pull out the laser and make sure."
Yeah,
you know, it's
they
like,
just
exactly. Yeah. So you get this intuitive knowledge, and you intuit what feels right and what doesn't feel right, and sometimes that actually comes into play. Gary had it in spades. I mean, in absolute, it's funny the few times the emails we had were gaming when I was developing Castles and Crusades and Zaggig with them. So I got a lot of that intuitive knowledge. We didn't talk about it much in person, but he had a great intuitive knowledge of games and how they played out. Like, I remember sending him some stuff about ideas about X, Y, and Z, and he'd be like, well, I mean, he would shoot back like within 5 minutes and like, well, you know, after so many iterations of this is how this would turn out. This is how this would turn out. This is how this would turn out. I'm like, well, okay. You know, because you have that intuitive knowledge that it just works. It's like, you know, people who run games for a long time and can do it on the fly. Right. They don't need any preparation or anything like this. Sit down at a table, they run a game, and it goes great. Because they've been doing it for 30 years.
And it's all locked in.
It's all locked in there. But when you ask them, how do you do that? I know, and they can't put together a singular, coherent thought about how to do it or instruction on how to do it. But they do it so well. You're like, you've run into the guys. You're talking about mechanics. The mechanic I use down the street, Nate, who is so good with cars, but he could not explain how to get out of a wet paper bag. I mean,
right. Well, you know, I'm that way with computers and technology. It's like, you know, if you know anything about computers, you become the family IT guy, right? Like my dad has something, or I'm like, well, tell me, how to fix. Tell me how to fix it, so I don't have to bother you again. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it. I just know how to do it. It's like, and sometimes the fix isn't something that's, you know, easily quantifiable, because I have to look at this and this and this and this. Like, this is the problem, so this is the fix. I can't impart that. It's just that learned baptism by fire experience.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, no, I know exactly where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, so I think the last time I took the truck in tonight, he goes, "Well, that sounds sort of janky." I was like, "Yeah, what does that mean?"
Yeah. I don't know. It's just not right. Damn it.
It's just not
Just
right.
trust me.
And then he got in there and he's like, "Oh, I don't know what it was, something with the timing belt or something like." Anyway, but he's really good. He's kept that truck. It's a '98 Dodge
Wow.
pickup, 4-wheel drive, and he's kept it running in near perfect condition for 10 years now.
It's hard to say about anything new these days.
I'm not getting rid of that truck.
No, don't. I keep wanting to hit the point right. I need to buy something old enough that it's easily worked on and you get parts for it, and I have to.
No,
I mean, they build cars now where you have to like take the front clip off to change the light bulbs.
yeah, there's no way that I'm getting a new car, and I've looked at them, and if I can't do the basic maintenance myself, then
I mean, I had to bite the bullet, and my current ride is a 2019 Jeep Grand Cherokee because I just got my Charger out of the shop, and I was driving a borrowed vehicle. My dad was driving the Charger, and half a mile down the road, a 14-year-old kid driving his dad's truck, learning to drive, stopped with no brake lights, no turn signal. My dad, he's getting on. His reaction is a little bit slower. Even I was right behind him, like, is that truck? Oh my God, it stopped. It stopped dead. My dad's like, punk. And it just put the hitch through the grill, and it was running. It was fine.
yeah.
Insurance says, nope, totally it out. Because there's going to be more than $6,000 to fix because parts are so goddamn expensive now. And I was just like,
Oh yeah, I guess
I
they totaled
cried. I
cars.
cried.
Yeah, they total cars for no reason. It seems anyway. I
Well,
guess
hell, we
there's-
were in an accident a couple of weeks ago. We got lightly clipped, T-boned. I was driving my better half, and her daughter was driving. She went to pass, and this guy in a air conditioning company truck went to turn. He put his turn signal on, but didn't check to see someone's passing. Like, we're lucky we almost went into this old
Damn.
rock wall that it's probably been there since like the Civil War. The damage didn't look that bad, and it was like crumpled up around the rear wheel, and I was like, we could probably just drive home. And the state trooper was like, well, I can't tell you can't do it, but if I was you, I wouldn't. And then they're like, well, the insurance will cover it. I'm like, fine, whatever, totaled. So we had to go out and find a new car for her. So yeah, it was freaking fantastic. I'm still salty about my Charger because, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And now I have this Jeep, which is fine. It's got an extended warranty and all this crap on it. And the day I was freaking out or not freaking out, but very puzzled because the lights were on in the day, and I did not. It was on auto. I'm like, is the sensor going bad? And then I realized I had laid a piece of mail over the sensor. I'm like, you dumbass.
Yeah, there's something. So yeah, no, my battery keeps dying because on this.
It's got some phantom draw somewhere.
Yeah, on this other car, it got the.
Yeah.
It's not my car.
Yeah, and of course, what's bad? This Jeep has the start-stop system to save the environment. So every time you stop, it shuts down. It has extra battery on it to make sure the battery doesn't go down, so I can still start it. But if one battery goes down, you got to replace both of them. It's just
Wait, do you have 2 batteries on that car?
Yes.
See, there's no way on earth I'm getting rid of that Dodge. And honestly, it only has 137,000 miles on it.
Oh God, that's nothing.
Yeah,
I had like twice that on my Charger, and it was still in.
yeah, and it's 26 years old. I'm really tight driving it, and of course, gas now being whatever it is, it's going to see less road time than ever before.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, they use more gas idling. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it wears the belt out and kills the starters, and I mean it's terrible.
It's so. I think if I were to buy a new vehicle, this is funny. I would get a self-driving Jaguar, the Waymos, so I would never have to drive a vehicle again.
Yeah, some people are. It's funny, like. I better have kids are all like, we don't like these self-driving cars. I'm like, man, there's sometimes I'm so tired. I just want to get in the back seat and go to sleep. Fuck this driving home stuff. Right now, I'd be sitting in my car to pick up the kid if I could. I can't.
Yeah. Well, Steve and I were in San Francisco. We took the Waymo everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, anytime we had to, there's no taxi. We just took the Waymo. It was so relaxing, and it's sort of cool to be sitting in a car and there's no driver and the steering wheel's turning, and it's just like sort of cool. I like it.
Well, on that note, we're at the 2-hour mark, and like I said earlier, I have to go pick someone up because I'm on taxi driving duty this week, or this night. So we're going to do the giveaways here in a second. But David, do you have any parting thoughts?
Oh, not of any value.
Other than go buy a D30.
Get a D30. If you has it, okay, I'm going to have to come up with like a D30 2-hit system and armor system or something.
Yeah.
This is an adjunct for CNC.
You should write up enough and send to Steve. Like, Steve, I want to do this. Just to like, damn it, Davis, we don't need another system. just to ruffle his feathers.
Oh no, that's his big thing with me. We don't need another system, and I was like, of course we do. It's good.
All right. Okay, we're going to do the giveaways here real quick. So if your name is picked and you're on, either hit me up on Discord, because I am in the Troll Lord Games Discord, and there's also links for our channel Discord, which no one's on, but who cares? Or you can message me privately on Twitch, and I will set the codes up for you. Let's see, we're giving away. Come on. Why is this thing not?
We're giving away the company store.
We're giving away everything must go.
We're giving away my mattress.
Okay, first code is for a $10 PDF. DM Chris, 1972. You've won. Trozar, second winner. Good King. Whatever. And now for the grand prize, $15 on any product on the Troll Lord's. Oh, he's distracting me with D30. KevCon 1, you have won $15. There is great stuff on there. If you don't already have it, there are several. Like, there is stuff I was going to talk to you about, like, these fine modules here.
Oh, War of Madagot. I really liked that.
Yeah, I really want to talk about that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed writing it, and I enjoyed the plot to it. And
okay, so we're gonna have to do this again. If you've enjoyed yourself, there's many more things, plenty of things we can rant about, plenty of things serious we can talk about.
I will go next time we do it. I'll see if I can find my notes, and we will go over my self-actualization system.
I would love that. The
idea of it.
Alrighty,
I think it's great.
Well, on that note, we are going to sign off here, and I hope everybody has a good night. I hope they enjoyed. Until next time. Next time we'll be streaming. It'll be on Wednesday nights when we stream our Blacktooth Ridge game. I mean, it's Blacktooth Ridge game, but we've been detoured for like 3 years doing other stuff. But, that's how it's supposed to be played.
We're way over the Cold Crab Mountains, but,
Yeah. What's amazing is we're not over the mountain. Let's see. There's Bergman Outlandish, and there we go. Yeah, but we're going to talk about those in a future fireside chat. Davis, I want to thank you for spending your time here with us, or with me. I mean, I have dogs here; they count, I guess. But I really enjoyed it. And on that note, good night, everybody.